Morning. This is Paul. This is my apartment, my living room and office. And I just wanted to share something real quick. Um, I do this because it's important to me that we be honest with ourselves. And so, I've had some I've had some time alone, and I've had some time to really go within, and I've had opportunities that I created to help me go within, things that I chose to learn, things that I chose to, put my interest in. Sometimes it was making money, stuff that made me money, and some of it was stuff that was just a hobby that I wanted it to make money. And, there was a little bit of jealousy and envy there going on inside of me with other people because they had a talent that I really wished I had. But I needed to develop my own talent, not their talent. And, now I understand that. I'm 51, so yeah, better late than never, but I'm good with that. But something really important, because I like topics that really push people's buttons. And I just wanted to say, to be honest, this is part of my teaching, I guess, on some level, because we all are teachers and students at some point in time in our life, sometimes at the same time. I am gay in this life, and I've been single most of it, and probably for good reason, because I had a temper, and I had a temper that was developed. It cultivated. I mean, it kind of grew and grew and grew because I was never able to share the things that I truly needed to share on a level that I felt safe, and I felt like somebody was actually, they really gave a shit. And sometimes it's therapy and you pay a therapist, and sometimes it's going to, different types of group meetings and group uh, functions, which is great. And being a hairdresser most of my life, it afforded me some opportunities. Clients afforded me the opportunity to go see and experience certain things that, to me, adds a little culture, because people add culture to people. Buildings, safe, but it's really the land, and it's really what you've experienced in your life and your people, and what you've learned from all that. And that's what's important now to me. It always kind of has been on some level, but I never knew how to express all that. But I did had to avoid myself most of my life, which is unfortunate, but it's a great thing now, looking back. But yeah, very insecure, very self-doubting, all that good stuff. So, I easily trusted people, let them in, that kind of stuff, and to my detriment most of the time. But and sometimes theirs, because sometimes I have a negative influence on other people. It's not only the other way around. Um, but nonetheless, we embrace and we learn from each other. But here's my point. There is something about every culture, every lifestyle, mine including, where people will look at me and frown and be disgusted at how I feel about anything. And here's what's so cool is that we all have that. I mean, there's always something that people are going to look at you and say, really, you really believe that way? Or you really... So, but it comes from my experience with people. If I went to different countries and experienced how the natives live, so to speak, and love that. What gets messy is people trying to, I don't know, I don't know what it is. I have to go from my own experience. I've always had to, seem like I've had to explain myself. And I go back to Katharine Hepburn, never complain and never explain. And my mother, I go back to my mother, never say, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. So these are the things that are important to me to remember. And because, someday I do want to have something that I can say I nurtured and look, and everyone loves being there. And I used to get that when people came to my place where I lived. They said it was very comfortable. But on the inside, I was just so negative. and, and, to be quite honest, I couldn't stand being around myself at times. But, I don't blame people for having their feelings towards me, past, present, or future. But I have mine too about me and the people around me. And, when you spend most of your life afraid of people because you're afraid they're going to find out your secret or they're going to find out who you truly are, and when you are kind of doubting who you are, it really plays a definite mind game on a person. But here's the thing. Coming together and understanding what people are thinking, what an individual is thinking, and really embrace the love that will connect the two of us. Here's what I mean, okay? Because I come from a family that, yeah, we're insecure, we judge, we criticize, we even condemn each other in our own family. So, when you're playing that kind of role and game, I mean, you can imagine what kind of shit you're seeing outside of yourself. It's the truth. I bought into, condemning cultures. I never even met them. Never met an individual, probably. Never went to the culture. Never went to the country. There was things. I mean, come on. I mean, we've always said spick, chink. We've all, wetback. I mean, I don't mean to be pointing out one, the Hispanic community, because I was called a cracker and a punk and a faggot and a sissy, So I understand what it's like to be on the receiving end. And what I did is I chose to embrace the anger that came from using those words. Like I would call other gay men faggots. Okay, I would call a black person a nigger. I would call a Hispanic person a spick. I would call, a dog a bitch, a woman a bitch. I mean, name it. Okay, and so here's the thing. Yes, there's a powerful impact that words make, but actions to me are much better than inaction. And when you take an inaction to something, which I was doing for most of my life, because I was focused on other things that were more detrimental, I felt. And really it all boiled down to being insecure and not connecting to God. And once I kind of made through that, and I had to alienate everybody, had to get everybody angry at me, my family, my friends, even people that say they're my friends on Facebook. They don't want to be around me, some of them, but they'll say they like something I say or do or picture, So it's all about falsity, and false relationships. And that was my thing with my family. My family and I were kind of false with each other. And I don't know if that happens in every family. I'm sure that dynamic happens in everyone's life somewhere, some way. But what it brought me to was a place of knowing what unconditional love feels like when you receive it and when you give it away. And the bottom line is where that unconditional love is where my Creator that I call God is and will always be. So yes, I wanted to see people dead. I wanted to see people hurt, injured, whatever, mauled. I mean, whatever. I wanted to do the same thing with my own hands and my own teeth. I mean, so yeah, I get all the stuff that we see on TV and the movies and stuff, vampires and all that. Yeah, because I really dig the word revenge. But what I dig more these days is the concept of love, family, tradition, truth and honesty, and, just giving a shit. So I put it all into myself, to the dogs that I babysit, to the people that choose to be around me, my cats. So that's who I am today, and I'm grateful for that. And I couldn't be that man had I not gone through what I've gone through and made the choices that I made, like we all make. So, if you hold a grudge towards somebody, get over it, because you know what? They could fucking drop dead today, and then, oh well, I was a fake friend on Facebook or Twitter, or in the whatever on the internet, or I have their address, but I never went by their home. I'm gonna step out on faith, and I'm gonna put myself out there, and I've done that, and I've been refused. So I put it into the dogs now, the people that choose to be around me. I repeat this because it's very important that I make this statement, that because you don't love me doesn't mean I don't exist, and it doesn't mean that I'm not lovable. So I make people angry, you make people angry. The thing is that separates us, makes us different, is my or your capacity to be merciful and loving. And now I am that person. So if you're not merciful and loving and give a shit, if you're one of those people that dismisses people, doesn't really listen, you're all about you. And the reason why I know that is because I've been there. I've been all about me. Now I share who I am to the fucking world, man. And there's videos that I had out there when I was going through a very spiritual experience. And there was one man that watched my videos on YouTube. I deleted all of them because it pissed off my family. I wish they were back up. Because you know what? They needed to be pissed off. Just like people needed to tell me I was a faggot and a queer. Because I needed to be in control of my own life and how I felt about me, not what you thought of me. So yeah, I was one of those that got tripped in his own senior prom, humiliated at school in front of other students. Yeah, humiliated in front of other employees. I've been there, done that. So, yeah, it's the dark side, or, really focusing on what is really important in the world. And that is caring. So here I am, Lord, use me. And I am your servant. I am your son. And for me to say that and have that relationship today with God is amazing, because what everyone else said I needed to believe in, including the church, okay? God is not that anymore for me. And that's the only reason why I'm standing here breathing. It's because of God. I should have been dead a long time ago, physically. I should have left this world, and I wanted to, big time. And I'm glad I went through what I went through, because it brought me closer to my Creator and the relationship that I need to have, because I want to have that with all in my life. So, whatever you praise the love and the goodness that comes from it, not the hate, not. If you are nurturing anger and hate and rage, then okay, you're nurturing the devil inside you. Okay, you're on a course of a quick death. A quick death. If you're creating death around you, you've got death coming back at you 1,000%. And trust me, you don't want to see how ugly that gets. And it gets pretty dang ugly. I've seen it. I haven't seen the ugliest, but I've seen ugly. So, yeah, acknowledge that. Use that to create and build something beautiful from it. I know what I'm talking about. And maybe one of these days, maybe my family will notice it. But my family in heaven, they notice it. My Heavenly Father notices it. And the animals that let me learn from them notice it too. And they get to see a little bit ugly too from time to time. Because I get frustrated just like the next guy. And I get nervous and I get anxious just like anybody else. And I acknowledge that and I learn from it and try to make that teach me something good, something connected back to God. Anyway, I'm getting so deep, I gotta go take a shit. Bye-bye. Thank you. Have a nice day. Colonoscopy. No.